Welcome in, everyone, to the QB List pregame Sunday live stream. I'm your host, Aaron Rader. We got my buddy Matt Dean and co-host as always. You can find me at RAY_DUR on Twitter. Matt, where can they find you out there?
At Matt Dean QB List on Twitter, and for Reddit, you'll see me and Aaron commenting, especially on the sit start stream or post. I'm MDean8, and what's your Reddit handle there? Is it the same?
Yeah, mine is also RAY_DUR on Reddit. So
look at you being consistent.
So it is a wild Sunday morning already with the news coming out. So let's go ahead and hit it. Go ahead and get right in. Pats and Broncos has been moved to next week. As far as I've seen so far, it has not been confirmed as to what the date is, unless there's any news that you've seen that I haven't. But as per Adam
Schefter, well, I think they said that game's going to be played next week. It looks like the Pats were supposed to be on bye next week, and they're just going to have their bye this week. And then they're trying to figure out what they're doing with – I think Denver was supposed to play Miami next week. So the league hasn't figured out exactly what they're going to do with that game yet. So Pats Broncos plan to be next week.
Yeah, so we don't know a specific date for next week, but definitely have been told it's next week. The other one is the Titans. They were very close to having to forfeit this game. They had no positives going into yesterday, and then today they've had a staff member test positive for COVID. So they've had to shut down their facility, and it looks like this game between the Titans and Bills may be postponed even further than its original postponement on Tuesday. So,
yeah. It seems like, they said they've been in contact with the league on next steps, so that's probably not what you want to hear if you're a football fan in general, especially not if you're a Titans or a Bills fan, or a Josh Allen owner like yourself. So, because it sounds like, if the Titans have to forfeit, you won't get – basically you'll have Josh Allen with 2 bye weeks, right?
Essentially, that's what it seems like. This is such an unprecedented thing. I don't know how this is all going to work.
Yeah, it seems, in our league, we are planning on doing – I think we mentioned it. Was it last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, where, if you have a player that plays for the Titans or the Bills on Tuesday, the commissioner is just taking a list of names to have as replacements in case, that game doesn't happen. Let's say you have Josh Allen in your lineup. I think you said you have, Phillip Rivers as your alternate in case, that doesn't go down. So, anyways, yeah. Exciting stuff. Not so exciting though.
Yeah, and I feel bad for all the people. I feel bad for all the people who are in multiple leagues like myself. You wake up today. Let's hope you woke up early, because if you wake up at 12:30 today and you're trying to set those lineups, it's going to be a disaster. Because I'm still in limbo here over some things. I haven't heard from commissioners. Some commissioners haven't made a decision on what we're doing. So, this is what we signed up for. This is, everyone that decided to play fantasy football this year knew something like this was happening. Luckily, I don't think it's been as bad, knock on wood, as it could have been.
Yeah.
But
not yet anyways.
Hopefully we don't, end up in a whole full-blown season cancellation. But, as we talked last week, it would be nice if they would kind of shut down for a week or two, figure this thing out, and develop more of a strategy moving forward, because they clearly kind of came in just trying to plow through the season, and that's leading to a lot of road bumps here.
Yeah, I agree, but like you said, it's what we signed up for. This is why it's good to be in a league where you have a commissioner that's active and proactive with things. And so hopefully your commissioner, especially if it's a paid league, and a free league, it may be a little spotty or with random people, but in the leagues that really matter out there, hopefully, this gives you a chance to really evaluate if the commissioner you have is someone who's set for the long haul, or if, you may need to reevaluate some things. So I think it actually is a good temperature check as well for leagues out there, that maybe have gone, stagnant or it's always good to have a fresh look at how your league is being run. So some good things can come out of it.
Yeah, and try to have a little turnover at that commissioner spot, because we've found that you have one guy too long, too many years, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, anyways, we'll get on to the injury news.
Neither here nor there.
We'll get on to the injury news since we've already touched on most of the COVID stuff. Big names this week. As far as the ones out, the biggest one probably is Julio Jones. Unfortunately, I mean, this is just a lost season at this point. I mean, for the Falcons, they're getting into divisional play today. They got a chance to win against the Panthers, but I just don't even want to talk about it. Sam Darnold is out. I believe it was a shoulder injury.
I think it's pride more than anything.
Tyrod Taylor is out, still with the lung and ribs thing. I don't know if he starts, even if he comes back. I mean,
yeah, Anthony Lynn said Herbert would be the starter moving forward. So, I mean, I don't see how they switch that at this point.
Yeah, the way Herbert's played, I don't understand how they could put Tyrod back in there. Austin Eckler, much to your chagrin, is out for 3 to 4 weeks, I think, with his hamstring.
At least, yeah, they were debating not putting him in IR. I'm glad they did, because I'd rather him just come back fully healthy. It really is this week really is just all around been fantastic. I'll tell you. Started out last week, Eckler going down, somehow still pulled off a win thanks to Tom Brady. But then, had Brady get like 16 points Thursday, which was, just mediocre at best. Now Melvin Gordon's out, so I'm having to literally start waiver wire fodder. So, which we'll talk about they're not fodder. I think they actually could have some good weeks, but when you go from starting Eckler and Melvin to starting Latavius Murray and Greg Ward, you're not really happy about that.
Well, I just had one commissioner text me and tell me we're not doing replacements. So looks like Jarrett McKinnon's going to have to start over Diggs, because I don't want to take that chance. I mean, I don't know what to do. It's a shame you got to sit someone like that because of managers.
Yeah, but even in that case, I think McKinnon's been solid, and I don't think you'll have too much of a drop off.
Yeah, I'm not sure Mostert's going to play today, even if he is. He's one of the questionable guys, and he'd probably be limited even if he does play.
And just a reminder for those watching, if you have any sit-start questions or replacement questions, anything like that, trade questions, whatever it is, you can drop it in the comment section of wherever you're watching, and we'll see it here, and we'll post those on the screen and get to them. So just wanted to drop that in there.
Yeah, I know everyone's got lineup questions today. There's no way you don't.
I'm sitting here looking at DFS, and like all I see is red names.
So another questionable, Lamar Jackson's been questionable with a knee and illness. I haven't seen any news recently if he's going to play. I'm sure he is, but him and Mark Andrews both were questionable. Seems like Mark Andrews has been ruled to play. Marquise Brown's also questionable with a knee. I don't know. Have you seen any other Ravens news?
No, I mean, it seems like the only declared inactives that I've seen are for the 1 p.m. games, and they're all expected to play for Baltimore. Now, how effective it'll be, I don't know. It could be more of a running back game, so J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards. But I mean, I feel like with Lamar Jackson, he's going to run regardless. Let's just hope he doesn't overdo it and tweak anything with the injuries we've had. Honestly, the big thing that I'm worried about is, just how many injuries we've had. I think I saw yesterday that I think 8 teams have had their starting running back get injured in some capacity. And so this is definitely the time to be stashing backups on your bench if let's turn into lottery tickets here pretty quickly if people will get banged up. So your Latavius Murray's, your J.K. Dobbins, your Duke Johnson. Oh, one. I guess it's of note. You can tell me if you agree or disagree that it's positive news, but Le'Veon Bell's expected back this week for the Jets. Do you see that having a big impact there with Joe Flacco under center, or are you just staying away completely this week?
I mean, I'm staying away from that offense completely. If I have Le'Veon Bell and I have no other good options, then I'll throw him out there. But I'm not expecting much if I am. They didn't seem to want to use him anyway when he was in. I mean, all the stories coming out of training camp and stuff. Gase didn't seem to be too keen on using Bell. Even wanted to trade him as early as last year. So I don't have a lot of faith in this offense. We'll see if Joe Flacco can still sling it, though. That'll be fun.
I think he can't, so which could be good for whoever the running back is, but I guess we'll have to see. I don't think he plays a full load anyway, so I'd be keeping him on benches this week unless you're starting someone like Greg Ward instead.
Right.
I'd take Le'Veon Bell this week. I'll say that.
Let's see. Some other notable questionable. We talked about Mostert a little bit. This would be his first week back, so I don't know that he's going to play today. Zach Moss had turf toe. He was a game time decision last week. He's been out for 2 weeks total. Their game may not even be played, so who knows if it is played. I don't know if Zach Moss will be back or not. Joe Mixon was questionable with a shin, but I think he's going to play.
Yep. And Mixon went off last week. Man, people that bought low on him enjoyed last week, but we'll see if that continues for Mixon.
Yeah, and I know we had a discussion last week about Mixon, and we kind of said give him one more week, and then he delivered. So, because I know we talked about should people trade him, and I said he always starts slow like this the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then gets going. Man, he really got going in a big way last week with 3 touchdowns. So,
yeah, he outscored surely his entire season up to that point. But I mean, I think that I saw that was his highest scoring fantasy day of his career. So, if that offense can keep it moving like that, then good things are going to happen for Mixon. His value may be the highest it'll be all year right now. So, maybe you got a king's ransom for him where last week you were trying to trade him for, a flex or something. But, if you could get another solid RB1, wide receiver 1, or some kind of package deal where you're upgrading multiple positions, I'd be fine still with you trading him off of that big game. Obviously, well, I say obviously, probably not going to have that kind of game again. That's a career game right there. But you got to be happy with what you saw. So Joe Burrow's looking good, by the way.
Well, and Joe Mixon, he's playing Baltimore today, so I don't know how he's going to do today, but you can't sit him after what he did last week. So,
right.
I mean, we got also Michael Thomas is once again questionable, has been all year. So we'll see if he plays, but Debo's also questionable. It'll be his first game back, I believe. I don't think he played last week that I can recall.
Yeah, he was. I want to say he was a game time decision, and I think he ended up playing. If he did, it was limited snaps, and he had no stats. It's been the Ayuk show lately. He had a rushing touchdown last week, but Debo, he'll get going, I think, especially with Garoppolo back. I think they had a little bit of chemistry last year, so he's someone that I'm fine starting in your flex this week for sure.
Mike Williams is questionable. Let me check his status. I don't. Let's see. He's still showing questionable, and that's the Monday night game, so we may not get a ruling on him till then. All the Titans, A.J. Brown's questionable with a knee. COVID list. Corey Davis and Adam Humphries are on the COVID list. We don't even know if this game's going to happen, so I would say A.J. Brown's probably going to play if this game happens, but
yeah, I think he practiced in full all week. So,
and if he doesn't, I don't know who's going to catch the ball besides Johnny Smith. So,
right, yeah, Derrick Henry has bricks for hands. So, yeah, I almost said Deion Lewis, but he's in the Giants now, and so Yeah.
And with all their missing, defensive players, I was really like, it's going to be a shame if I don't get to play Josh Allen against that defense. So,
yeah,
hopefully that game takes place.
Hopefully, but I mean, honestly, I don't know, since it was a staff member, if they can, I mean, how much more practice do you need? It's Sunday before your Tuesday game. Like, can they just take a couple days off and play? I guess they just have to see if any other players test positive before they can make a ruling on that. But we'll see, because as of early this morning, it even seemed like the Patriots were going to play, and now they're not. So things happen really quick. So just turn on notifications for that game on Twitter.
We do have a question coming in. Varsity 42 asks, Melvin Gordon, Joe Mixon, and Jerick McKinnon have to start 2 in a PPR.
Well, I think that decision was made for you. Melvin Gordon's not playing, so
their
game's postponed.
So, Joe Mixon and McKinnon. Let's see.
And can you trade me McKinnon, please?
McKinnon has been, all these years he had so much hype, and then this year he finally stays healthy. He's actually done well.
Yeah, he has. And, we'll see if that continues with Mostert back. I envision him going to more of a – probably not his White kind of role, but, more of just a spell kind of guy. But I don't know. I think – he's looked really good. He's looked really effective. And, we could see them more closer to a 50-50. But then again – Jeff Wilson Jr. looked good a couple weeks ago and then just fell off the map. So you never know. And especially with McKinnon's injury history, he could be gone any week, any given week, unfortunately. So,
well, with all that, I think we covered all the injuries. So, with all this COVID talk and bye week starting this week, let's kind of talk about some of the players. Oh, we got one more question here. Ty or Gage? Ty has been trashed for weeks. Yes, I agree. It really
this one is close to home for you, doesn't it?
Has been really unfortunate. Of course, Gage kind of disappeared last week, so I unfortunately have to start Hilton this week against the Browns because I had Edelman. So the Browns have given up a ton of points to receivers, but Denzel Ward should be covering Ty. So I don't know that that's formidable. So I'd probably go Gage in this situation.
Yeah. What do you think about the recent emergence of – do you pronounce his name Zacchaeus?
Yes, Zacchaeus.
How do you – because it seemed like he's kind of been coming on here, whereas Gage has been falling off. Gage only with, 2 catches in each of the last 2 weeks. Zacchaeus – I believe last week was his kind of breakout. He had 4 catches 2 weeks ago, 8 catches last week. So is this just a revolving door? Or do you think that – would you rather start Zacchaeus over Gage? I'm guessing Zacchaeus may be available in this situation. I don't know. But what do you like better?
Well, Gage has certainly been a guy that they look to on third down. I think he's more reliable. He's more of the chain mover than Zacchaeus. But Zacchaeus has been a guy that they've used for kind of like home run plays over the last few years, and now he's kind of emerging due to all the injuries and whatnot with Julio. And Gage has also been a little banged up, but yeah, Zacchaeus looked good last week, and he certainly has the speed to make big plays. So kind of just what you're looking for. I think if you're going safer, you probably go Gage, and if you want, kind of more upside, maybe Zacchaeus. But either one of them could have a good day today, I believe.
Yeah, with no Julio, man. We didn't really necessarily talk about that injury. I know we're getting into bye week or COVID replacements here, but we didn't really hit on the Julio news. Do you think this is something that's going to – like, what tier do you have him in now? Like, is it like the – he went from tier 1. Now he's been out he's missed 2 weeks, and he was basically not there for the Cowboys game. So is he someone who you're looking to like sell on name value right now, or are you just holding on and hope that hamstring gets better?
Well, I don't think you can ever sell a player when they're injured. So I wouldn't look to move him, but obviously with his health, I mean, if he's healthy, I still obviously you have him in your roster. But do I view him as a top 5 wide receiver right now? No, but I mean, the Falcons are going to be throwing a ton. Their defense is awful. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's getting any better anytime soon. So, I mean, Julio still has a ton of upside when he's coming back. So
cool. Yeah, I get it from the Falcons expert himself. So,
but meanwhile, I mean, Calvin Ridley has been pretty unbelievable. Except he's kind of
last week he put up a donut.
He's cool. He's cooled off. So,
well, he doesn't have Julio taking the double teams, So,
right.
I think that now he's taking on that Julio role, and we saw with Zacchaeus last week getting 8 catches. I mean, it's kind of like Calvin got promoted to the double teamer at this point. So I think Calvin's going to take off again once Julio gets back healthy. But yeah, I think Calvin's not the overall wide receiver 1 week to week right now that we thought that he was the first couple of weeks.
Agreed. Well, we'll move on to some. I know a lot of owners are scrambling right now for replacements, for bye weeks, for COVID, whatever it may be. So we'll kind of hit on some of the people I like and Matt likes, starting with the quarterback position. Speaking of the Falcons, I'm going to go Teddy Bridgewater against Atlanta's defense because they've given up the second most passing yards this year, and they I mean, it's just been an atrocity, really. So Teddy Bridgewater should be able to get you some points in a big way here. I'm actually starting him in one league. I've got him as designated as a guy for Josh Allen in one league in case that game gets canceled.
Yeah, I think, they're just having to throw a lot because they don't have a running back right now who's like strictly a good just rusher. They have Davis, who's shown that he's been a really good PPR back, really good at receiving the ball. So they don't have that McCaffrey who can, get 100 yards between the tackles or run a stretch play or toss play. So they're just having to throw, and you're seeing Teddy Bridgewater air it out and start to get a little connection with some of these receivers, except for DJ Moore. For some reason, DJ Moore is just really frustrating to own right now. So Teddy Bridgewater, I agree, there is a really good replacement, and Robbie Anderson owners have to be really happy because he's slinging it to him a lot.
You got a question coming in here. Thaddeus Lucas says, I drafted CMC and Chubb. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. Out of all these guys, which 3 are you playing? Gaskin, Kelly, McKinnon, Freeman, Edmonds, Mostert, or Henderson Jr.? Ooh, and it's full PPR, so interesting.
Yeah, 3 guys: Gaskin, Kelly, McKinnon, Freeman, Evans, Mostert, or Henderson.
Let's see.
I think the top of my list would be McKinnon and Edmonds, so those 2 are locks for me. Edmonds plays the Jets this week, and he's been pretty solid. Past that, I think I have to go just because Mostert's limited is the only reason that I want to go McKinnon instead. And I think for the other spot, I don't know. You help me here. I'm between Gaskin and Kelly, so I'll let you make the final call.
I'm actually between Kelly, Freeman, and Mostert as the third. So, I mean, if Mostert's healthy, probably Mostert. Well, you can't. I wouldn't start McKinnon and Mostert.
Yeah.
Whichever with the Niners backs is going to be. I think I got to go McKinnon even if Mostert comes back, and then Kelly and Edmonds.
The most recent report with McKinnon should be good to play, and I don't think I want to trust should be good to play as even if he's playing. I think we see a limited role there. So,
yeah, I mean Freeman could have a big day against the Cowboys, but I think I like those 3 better.
Yeah. So our final decision was McKinnon, Edmonds, and who was the third and final?
I think we said Kelly, right?
Kelly. Cool. Yeah, and we'll see this week. Kelly's definitely and we'll talk about that situation here in a minute, or I can just talk about it now, I guess. So one replacement that I had suggested just because of ownership percentages is Justin Jackson. He's shown some spark before in the past. He's been hurt this year. Just came back last week, so we haven't seen him, fully let out the gate. And even when Eckler went down last week, I think, even Kelly 8 carries or something. So they didn't run the ball a ton. I think the better receiver is probably Justin Jackson, which is why I think he could have a decent day. If Kelly shows any more fumbling issues, then we could see Justin Jackson be the guy there. So I think based on how this week's going to play out, I think Kelly's a good play, but I think long-term until Eckler comes back, we may see Justin Jackson get more of a run there, especially out of the backfield as a receiver. So if you need someone to replace a Bills player, a Titans player, a New England player, a Denver player, I think Justin Jackson is a good option.
We have another question coming in from Reptile042. Love that picture and that throwback name. Lambs, Jefferson, or Boyd today? I'm going Justin Jefferson. I don't even have to think about the others.
Yeah,
against Seattle, they've given up the most passing yards by even over Atlanta. They've given up 300 something more yards through the air. So
Tyler Boyd's has been so good, but yeah, it's tough. CeeDee Lamb's also been really effective, but I think Jefferson right now is probably my choice as well. Even though Boyd has 3 straight weeks. I mean, 7 for 90 and 10 for 125, 7 for 70 and a touchdown. It's a tough one for me. I'm between Jefferson and Boyd, and I may actually lean Boyd in this situation. But I could be definitely persuaded Jefferson. I think you're not missing out. I guess I should say between Jefferson and Boyd. I just think Boyd we've seen it longer and we've seen it more consistent. So I'm going Boyd based on consistency and the fact that they're probably going to be behind. So I'm going Boyd.
Boyd boys. So we got a little bit of news here to share. I just got an alert from Sleeper. I don't know if this is just for their fantasy platform or if it's for all. I'm actually going to check Yahoo right now. Apparently, all the players affected from the cancellations today are receiving a COVID tag. So that means they would be eligible for your IR spot. But it looks like Yahoo has not implemented that. It looks like only Sleeper has done that as far as I can tell, which I'm not in any other leagues this year, but besides Yahoo platform. So maybe someone else can answer that for us. But, yeah, Sleeper has said they're going to do Denver and the Pats are going to be eligible. And then if Titans-Bills gets canceled, they're going to let them be eligible too. So,
yeah, honestly, I hope that platforms don't do that because, honestly, it's just a bye week. I mean, this is just going to replace their bye week, I think. So,
but I think it does give owners a little bit more flexibility because even though it is a bye week, at least, during a regular bye, you have a whole week to prepare. When something like this happens, you only got a day or less than a day before kickoff. So I don't know. There's no really and then so KMH 1987 says Sleeper. So I guess they're the only platform doing it right now.
I think Kenny tried to give us an emoji there, but it didn't come through for us. So we don't know if it was a thumbs up or a thumbs down, Kenny, but he may like Sleeper. He may have a beef. Who knows?
So you said you did you have another replacement you were talking about that you like this week?
Greg Ward, I think is Kenny said it was love, so he's a fan of Sleeper. Greg Ward is somebody that I think, we look at his target share. He's had 7 targets last week, led the team. 11 targets 2 weeks ago, led the team. 2 weeks ago, he went 8 for 70 and a touch. This last week, he went 4 for 38, but they're playing San Francisco. This week, they get Pittsburgh, who actually has been pretty forgiving against the pass. I know week 1, they looked like the number 1 defense in the NFL, but I think Greg Ward has a great chance, especially with no Goddard. Alshon's not back yet. really no one else on their team has shown anything. Hightower is somebody who people have talked about, but he hasn't done anything. So I think Greg Ward should see another 7 to 10 targets this week. And I mean, if he's replacing somebody in your flex and he goes, let's say 5 for 60 with a chance for a touchdown, I think you're pretty happy with that from your flex spot. Anytime I can get double digits in PPR from the flex spot, I'm feeling a lot better about my matchup. So,
got another question from Eric. Risk Michael Thomas on Monday Night Football or just go with a replacement? This week, as fast as all the replacements and stuff are getting snatched up, I might just go with a replacement.
I think what I would do is first look and see if Traquan Smith is available in your league, and he could be your replacement if Michael Thomas is out. If he's not available and there's no Monday night viable receivers available, then I would definitely be I think I would just go with someone else. Anyways, the Saints have their bye week, I believe, coming up next week, so I really find it hard to believe that if he's not fully healthy, not fully healthy, they're going to risk him getting hurt again right before their bye week. That just doesn't seem like a smart move. So,
yeah, I believe they would definitely play, or they'd definitely hold him out one more week. Kenny says, I've read Thomas is about a 65% chance to play. Yeah, I don't think Michael Thomas will play this week. So I think you hold him out, you find a replacement.
Yeah, I'm actually in that position, not with Michael Thomas, but with needing a replacement. I have, Latavius Murray right now in one of my flex spots, and I've debated. Our league is fab, so, I would hate to, spend money on Traquan Smith and then he not play, but because somebody had just recently dropped him, so he's on waivers right now. But so I'm going with Latavius Murray, and my personal position there is as my flex replacement for Melvin Gordon. But if you can grab Traquan Smith, because I think Traquan had 2 touchdowns last week. He's looked a lot better than Emmanuel Sanders at this point in their career. So I think that's a viable replacement.
I think Emmanuel had a decent game last week. I'm just going to look that up. I know he didn't do what we thought he was going to do with Michael Thomas out, but actually he had – so the last 2 weeks he had 15, 60, and 15-30 in our PPR league. So he did pretty well, but
yeah, I just figure Emmanuel Sanders might be a little more widely owned than Traquan, so I thought maybe Traquan would be a quicker grab there.
Another guy that you just talked about Traquan Smith, but another guy is Chase Edmonds. You said against the Jets, and he's kind of outplayed Kenyon Drake to all the Drake owners. Misfortune. So that's a guy that could really tear them up today, and somebody who I don't know why, but he was cut in a lot of my leagues last week. So I picked him up in quite a few leagues on waivers Wednesday. So I debated.
An article came out this week that the running back coach said they have to get Drake more touches, but it just seems like they're switching to more of with DeAndre Hopkins there, more pass first offense, and Kyler Murray's I think he's their leading rusher at this point of the year. I think last week he had 75 yards or something like that. He's had, I think he had 100 week 1, 80 week 2, something like that. So, any running back that's the main running back in that system right now is just capped because Edmonds is better receiver than Drake is. So they feel more comfortable tossing him the ball. And I just find it hard to believe that Drake is a first-round talent like we thought he was coming into this year based off his sample size last year. They didn't have DeAndre Hopkins last year. Their number one receiver when Drake got there was Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald. So,
yeah, and Edmonds wasn't as involved last year. It was tough for me to say he wasn't a first-round talent. He essentially won me a league last year when he got traded. So I had him on that team. But, yeah, I'm glad I ended up passing on him. Had he not had that walking boot to begin the season, I probably wouldn't have passed on him. So kind of thankful for that.
With how you trade, he wouldn't be on your team anyway.
No, probably wouldn't. So I mean, another guy that I like for replacement, I mean, with Julio out, is Alamid Zacchaeus, or is it Alamidas? I always forget. I mean, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but if you don't have Gage isn't out there. Um, Definitely look at Zacchaeus because it's Alamid Zacchaeus, but he had last Monday night, he had 1660. He had 8 receptions for 86 yards, 9 targets. I mean, so you could do a lot worse as a dart throw for a replacement player.
Yeah, and that goes back to our conversation of Gage or Zacchaeus. And you had said, what'd you say, that you felt like Gage was the safer 4, but Zacchaeus has the upside. So I think regardless, and you can chime in on this because I think there's always debate on it. If you're in a PPR league and you're doing dart throw, would you rather dart throw at a receiver or a running back?
I mean, I'm always running back heavy. I always like I feel like you're more guaranteed. The running back just feels more guaranteed for work. Like they're the first person you get a handoff, it's the first person that touches the ball. I mean, I don't know. There's so many variables to me that go into wide receivers and tight ends and that kind of thing. So I always want to get a running back that's getting quite a bit of touches in the offense if I can.
Yeah, and I think I swing unless you can get a guy like a Chase Edmonds. I think I tend to swing the other way where, like, the receiver is more likely to get a chunk play and their touches are guaranteed at least 1 point, a catch. So, like, if we're deciding between, let's say, Zacchaeus or Gage and like a Latavius Murray, well, I'm probably going to go with Zacchaeus or Gage because Latavius Murray, while he's getting like 12 touches a game, he's not getting the receiving work. And if he doesn't fall in the end zone, you're left with like 5 or 6 points. Whereas if Gage gets 60 yards compared to Latavius 60 yards, he's also going to get, 4 catches with that. So I think I like the upside of either a receiving back or a wide receiver with upside. So always an interesting discussion, though, because I know people swing different directions, and standard is a totally different ball game. That's all running back there. So,
well, I think that about does it for the fill-ins. Going to talk a little bit of DFS with all the crazy stuff going on and all the COVID news and stuff, and kind of talk these prices a little bit. Who are some DFS guys you like this week? I think it might be worth it to get that Murray and Hopkins stack against the Jets.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at my quarterback position right now and just wondering why whoever set up our DFS this week, we do a DraftKings DFS, and for some reason it's set up to where the Monday night or the Sunday night game is not a part of it. So, but I think at quarterback, I like the Murray stack for sure against the Jets. My only worry is that they're going to get ahead really fast and they're just going to, churn the clock or whatever. But he could get 2 or 3 quick scores early. My big DFS play that I like this week is actually Daniel Jones. He's going against Dallas, and Dallas sucks at defense, unfortunately. So, but as bad as Dallas is on defense, they're really good on offense. And so I think Dallas could get up to a lead. And so Daniel Jones will be throwing the ball a lot, even though he doesn't have the best options. So you got a question for us?
Oh, yeah. So we got a question rolling in here. It says, who should I play at my flex, Josh Kelly or T. Higgins?
Well, I'm going just in this situation, actually, just because Josh Kelly looks like the starter today, I'm going to go Josh Kelly.
I'm going Josh Kelly with T. Higgins playing Baltimore. I'm definitely going Kelly.
Yeah, so I think Kelly is my choice there because he has had, as much as I said about Justin Jackson being the better receiving threat, if Kelly's in there, Herbert's going to dump off every now and then. So even if he gets 2 catches for 18 yards. I mean, that's upside there. So,
FanDuel, let's see. FanDuel and a lot of picks here. That a lot of people are saying Zeke is like the must-have this week in your DFS lineup. He's going for 9,000 in FanDuel. Playing the Giants, do you think he's a must-have, or do you think you can get away with another running back? I mean, as much as I love Zeke and have him in multiple leagues, I'm sure he could have a huge day against this Giants team who's been kind of anemic. But is he worth that?
And he's actually been pretty involved in the receiving game. But when I see guys like, I mean, you have Edwards-Helaire for what, 1,200 less on DraftKings, or you have, Kareem Hunt, who is now the unquestioned starter for 1,300 less. I just think Jacobs even for over almost 2,000 less. If you have saved in other places, like say you go value at quarterback, tight end, and defense, or quarterback in one of your running back spots, well, then I think you could pay for him. But I think it also depends if you're doing cash or tournament. Cash, I think you want the safest floor possible because you're going against maybe either head to head or you're going 10 to 12 people. And so basically you're just trying not to have any zeros or any single. You want, a double digit floor. So I think in that case, I like to spread out my money a little more, but in a tournament play, I think you have to pay up for someone and throw some darts here and there to try and get people that are, lower ownership. So I'd say he's more of a must-have in tournament play. In cash play, like straight head-to-head or 10 to 12, winner take all. I'm probably spreading my money around a little more. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you always got to go with the field, but I do think Zeke could have a huge day against the Giants, so it may be worth it in the long run here. But like you said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going for 7,900 versus Zeke's 9,000. They're playing the Raiders, so he could be a good one. I mean, obviously, with Julio out, Calvin Ridley could be a big play today against Carolina. And, Matt said you kind of got to spend up for the big guys and throw some darts. We talked about the Falcons receivers, maybe throw those guys in there, or even, I don't know what Justin Jefferson's price is, but if I could get him in a lineup as my second or third receiver and spend big money elsewhere, maybe you try and do that because, like I said, Seattle's passing defense has been the worst in the league in terms of yardage.
Agreed, yeah. And, I was just doing a little experimenting with my lineup here. If you put Zeke in, it looks like you're going to have to go value at, basically two other spots. I mean, he's your only player that you're paying for over a, like the tier one threshold of payment, because it's just a big portion of your budget. So you're going to have some of the Greg Wards or the Russell Gages or Zacchaeus is in there to make it work, which I'm fine with because I think, as we've talked about, they have a lot of upside as well. So yeah, Kenny said Jefferson's on the late game. So if you're playing just the day games, the 1 p.m. or the 1 and 4:25 games, then Jefferson won't be on the main slate. You'd have to do the full day slate.
Yeah, and most people play either all Sunday or Sunday and Monday, and unless you're whoever set ours up, which is probably our commissioner, so he's just a buffoon. But
the main slate, I think you're looking at Gage, you're looking at Ward, you're looking at Zacchaeus to be your value guys. There's even some value plays at defense and tight end, which we can get into in just a minute. But yeah, I'm fine with you paying for Zeke because I think if they get up, Zeke's going to be getting the ball a lot.
Yeah, and that's one reason I like him is because I think game script's going to work for him. One thing I'm leery of when it comes to this matchup with these recommendations for Kyler Murray and Hopkins this week, you see those kind of matchups like against the Jets or something, and then you might get a ton of work for them the first half. Hopkins might have 70 yards and a touchdown first half, and then they just kind of go into, game control, clock killing mode and just run the ball. I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of the game you play when you spend up for these big guys against, bad teams. So that's one thing I'm always conscious of. It could really work, but if they end up kind of blowing them out early, it could also kind of burn you in the second half. So just something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where playing someone in a game that's going to be, look at those over-unders for games. That's going to really help you to see which games are projected to be the high scoring. And, you kind of want receivers, honestly, in those games because those are your dart throws to look at. Because those high-scoring games, there's going to be a lot of passing. And even looking at tight ends in those games because we've seen some tight ends blow up this year. Like Kittle had a 40-point game. Higbee had a 3-touchdown game on my bench. So Waller had like a crazy 12 catch for 150-yard game or whatever it was. So, I think looking at those over-unders is really something that takes a little time but can really put you ahead of a lot of the field just evaluating that way.
Yeah, and who were the tight ends and defense you were saying you liked today?
Yeah, so at tight end, I really like Dalton Schultz. He's just been consistent, honestly. Touchdown 2 the last 3 weeks. He's more of he's less than Higbee, who's been very sad to watch on my fantasy team since that 3-touchdown game. He's cheaper than Gesicki. He's right above Hayden Hurst. But once you get past him, like there's no consistency there. And so you're really looking at – he's like the last that I'm comfortable with, I would say. For defense, I really like the Colts. The Colts have been a solid defense. I think statistically the top 1, 2, or 3 in the league. And they are pretty cheap because they're going against the Browns who just lost Nick Chubb. I know that they dump it off to Kareem Hunt a lot, and Kareem Hunt's going to be he's a great play, a value play, I think, at running back. But I think with Baker Mayfield and how inconsistent he's been over his career, I think there's a great chance that Xavier Rhodes could get a pick or two. So, anyways, yeah, I think the Colts again are one of the last ones I'm comfortable with. It'll be interesting to see how Houston plays today. I wouldn't start Jacksonville's defense against him by any means, but it'll be interesting to see how that changes. We didn't even talk about Bill O'Brien being fired, So,
yeah, it's been a wild week, and Bill O'Brien kind of overstayed his welcome. I think it was certainly time for him to go, and I know a lot of fans were very upset with him, and especially after the GM moves he made, so it's probably best if they cut ties. I'm just wondering when Dan Quinn's going to get fired. I don't know what's going on there, why he still has a job, honestly. But,
Yeah, what did I say? What was that comment? Jay Jaw and Hightower are starting wide receivers against the Steelers. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. You want to put that back up there, but I think Greg Ward will probably be the leader in routes run or up in the top 2 or 3, and he should be. I would think he'd still be the leader in targets. Jay Jaw was inactive last week. That's JJ Arcega-Whiteside. But I think Greg Ward has shown enough that
and JJ Arcega-Whiteside has not done much to impress. Kind of what everyone thought he was going to be, has not reached those expectations. Speaking of defense, I know we were talking about some DFS defenses. If you've got, just in regular fantasy, if you had the Pats, try and go and get the Cardinals against the Jets. I'm sure they're taken in a lot of leagues, but I was actually able to scoop them up in 1 or 2 leagues today. But then I know they were awful last week. They got like 1.5 in one of my leagues for me. The Cardinals did, but the Jets have been so bad. Of course, as soon as I tell you to go get them a DFS, Joe Flacco will like revert to vintage form and throw like 4 touchdowns. And but that's a DFS defense I like today.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm not expecting big things from Joe Flacco at all. So they're just a little more expensive than I'm always looking. And it's probably a bad habit I get in, obviously, since I think I've finished in the top 3 like twice in our weekly DFS, but I usually look to save at the tight end and defense position. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But I was actually surprised to see the Colts listed so cheap. So I'm with them. Any more value plays for you at the running back or wide receiver position if you pay up for, let's say, a Hopkins or a Zeke? I know we talked about the Atlanta receivers, but any other value plays for you?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I don't know what McKinnon's going for if Mostert's not playing or limited. McKinnon could be good. We got another question coming in. Logan Thomas or Eric Ebron in PPR?
It'll be interesting this week because we have a new sheriff in town. I believe, unless I saw it wrong, that Alex Smith, is he going to be the starter? Or no, Kyle Allen's starting this week, and they want Alex Smith to take over that role as he works his way back from that horrific leg injury he had. But it'll be interesting to see. I would actually go Logan Thomas just because he has seen a lot of volume. He's just had a quarterback that doesn't know how to throw it accurately. So maybe Kyle Allen will be a little different. But, yeah, I think I would go Logan Thomas here.
Yeah, I'm actually going Logan Thomas in a league just because we've seen what he can do with Haskins. We'll see if he does anything different with Kyle Allen. Perhaps he can really, really break out here with a different quarterback. Trey S. says, do I need to bench Henry for Dearness Johnson or risk the Rona? Lost Chubb this week and bench Singletary due to the potential of the vapors. Well, is your commission not designating players? Because if not, one, you should maybe rethink your commissioner, but 2, that's tough, man, because if I have to – I mean, you can't just sit Henry if this game is still possibly being played. If anything, let's see, what time's the kickoff of that game? 4:30?
Yeah, I would say put him in your put Henry in your flex and just find an option tomorrow that – I mean, there's got to be an option out there because I would think we would know about Tuesday's game hopefully before tomorrow night. That's where you could get a Traquan Smith or Latavius Murray if he's out there and have him as an option tomorrow night because you want to give this as much time as possible. I'm not putting Derrick Henry on my bench when there's a possibility of playing.
Yeah, and Matt Tavernite also asked Teddy B or Minshew. I'm going Teddy Bridgewater against Atlanta easily. I hate to say that, but I know y'all think I'm not an Atlanta fan, but I'm strictly for fantasy purposes. You got to start these guys against us. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's I agree there. I think Teddy Bridgewater's the play.
And sorry, guys, I know Matt is as well, but we're trying to get our lineup set here before with all the chaos. 6 minutes to kickoff, trying to figure out all these replacements and all this stuff. So bear with me.
I think we have another question there. It says 8-team standard league. Need a tight end, streamer, Gesicki, Hurst, Henry, or Schultz. I think, in my opinion, Schultz has the most touchdown upside. So I'm going Schultz. Also, I'm biased because you see the jersey I'm wearing is the Cowboys. But what do you think? You're a Hurst guy probably, but.
Yeah, I mean, Hurst, definitely. I'm going Hurst over all these guys, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, I think I was just going more tight end upside based on what we've seen, but
He said had worked until 12:30, been in the lineup frenzy since. Yeah, I believe it. Last one, full PPR. Roll out Jared Cook or pick up Gesicki or Mo Alley Cox. Mo Alley Cox actually been decent. I would roll with him as much as the Cleveland defense has been giving up to some of these receivers. Maybe they can get the tight end some looks here.
Well, also Cook's not even guaranteed to play, so there's that. And he's a Monday Night Football guy, and you're not going to have a lot of replacements available come tomorrow night. So I think I'm going safe here. It's not like Cook's a world, all-world talent at tight end these days.
I'll tell you what I'm having. We got one more question. 1 second. Start 2 in PPR. Gaskin, CD, or Josh Kelly? I'm going CD.
And Josh.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, nice. I think that's an old is that a Yu-Gi-Oh card monster? Is his avatar there? But I was saying what I'm having trouble with is this defense because I want to start Dallas against the Giants, but man, that defense has just not been.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I'd rather pick up I picked up New Orleans against the Chargers. I mean, that might be all right. Saints defense is all right, and then versus a rookie quarterback. I think I'm going to pick up Indy's defense against the Browns here in this other league because Indy's defense has been pretty good.
Yeah, we have one more last one here, maybe last one. You guys think Michael Thomas or David Moore? Well, luckily Moore, he plays tonight.
I think him against the Vikings is certainly a good.
Yeah, I think if Gage or like Zacchaeus is out there though, wouldn't you rather one of them instead of David Moore? What do you think?
Yeah, probably so, but. Yeah, I would like them better, but I think David Moore has a pretty good upside in this game tonight. I think this game tonight should have a lot of offense because both defenses have been very bad against the pass.
Agreed, yeah. So check and see if those guys are available real quick before kickoff. But I think we're all kind of shading away from Michael Thomas.
Team out of nowhere said he subbed to us just because we noticed his avatar picture. If you don't know, me and Matt were very avid Yu-Gi-Oh players back in the day. I beat everyone with that Six Samurai built deck.
Who knew that we'd be talking about that on the stream today?
Oh boy. Well, we'll just sit here and kind of set my lineups for a second, but everyone feel free to ask more questions. See if some more trickle in here.
2 minutes till kickoff. So I will say this as we head into this, if there's some backups there, I said this at the beginning, but if there's some backup running backs like a Benny Snell or a Latavius Murray or Alexander Madison, like those guys that have league winning upside, if they're, the starter gets hurt, like pick those guys up and just stash them. Like if you're stashing like a Logan Thomas as a backup tight end or Mo Alley Cox as a backup tight end, I would rather stash pregame. I'd rather stash pregame someone like, one of those backup running backs.
DJ on delay, go Greg Ward quickly.
Yeah, I think Greg Ward, even though he's not listed as a starter, they seem to trust him a lot. So,
all right. Well, I think all my lineups are set here. I hope. I'm trying to. I still got Mostert and Deebo Samuel in though, and I don't know if that's happening. I'm putting Zacchaeus in for Deebo. What do you think? I got to keep Deebo in. I don't know.
Yeah, I go Deebo.
I'll just put David Moore in for Mostert later on if he doesn't play.
No problem, DJ. All right, well, that about wraps it up for us here. Kickoff happens in about 35 seconds. So good luck this week. Really good luck to me because my team is in shambles. And we'll see if we can't pull out a shocker here. The good thing is with how the season's going so far, I feel like so many people are either big weeks or clunkers. Like I think in our league, we've seen many people score under the 100-point threshold, which has been crazy. I think last week you I think you went from like scoring the most points to, you got like what, 115 or something last week?
Well, actually, Aaron Jones, I think I ended up getting like 120 or 130, but some guy named Robert Tanyan went off for 30 something against me. So, but yeah, everyone, kickoff's about to start. We're going to get to our TVs. Hopefully, my lineups are all correct. Matt, one more thing. Matt almost got off the hook here. I just want to get a little bit of college talk. Georgia did kind of take care of business against Tennessee yesterday, so Matt,
I was excited for a half.
Matt might have got the NFL matchup this year, but Georgia took care of business for what is this, 4 straight years now. So maybe one day it'll feel like 98 for Vols fans again, but yesterday it didn't.
Yeah, you earned that one.
All right, folks. We'll see you. Good luck.